Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the least comfortable show on the web. It's The System is Down, where we talk about all the uncomfortable topics like conspiracies, politics, religion, and so on and so forth. There's no glitz, no glamour today. There's no intros, there's no music, there's no overlays, no nothing. Just me in a hotel room in the great, beautiful state of November, New Hampshire. That's the one. I am out in New Hampshire for the Liberty Forum that I just got done filming, and now I've got one more day here tomorrow, shooting some ads for some very special campaigns that are coming up, and doing some fun stuff out here. So I figured I would take this evening and just do kind of a wrap-up of a bunch of news and shit, mostly propaganda stuff that I wanted to work into the show at some point. The problem with doing anything that's like current events or news is that if you have something in mind to talk about and you don't do it immediately, like 2 days later it's completely irrelevant, like not even news anymore, and we're completely on to something else. So and that's also why a lot of the Wednesday streams end up being so damn long, is because there's so many things that, like, not even necessarily important things, but just things that I think are fun and funny to talk about, or interesting and worth mentioning. So today we're going to talk about some propaganda, and we're going to get this out of the system before it is irrelevant for Wednesday's stream. And yeah, you just got this nice, lovely view of my hotel room. It is a pit. Yes, there's a very messy bed that is full of gear and clothing, because I am a man and I don't care who knows it, because my wife is not here to clean up the mess. Anyway, what are we talking about today? Oh, we've got some propaganda. We're just going to do some scattery stuff. Nothing in particular. Nothing in any specific necessary order. But we do have to start out with some good news. And the good news is they're listening, and they're letting you know. This is... Okay, so I was getting on my flight the other day on, what was it, Friday morning, yeah. Okay, so a little bit about my trip. The flight was at like 6 in the morning, which means or 5, something like that. But I had to be up there and like drop my car off at 3, which means that I had to leave my house at midnight. So I went to bed at 6. Got up at midnight, drove 3 hours to Chicago, dumped my car, and flew out at like 5 or 6 or so. So got very little sleep. Fun times, though. I always enjoy flying alone. I don't have any issue with flying. It's a stressful thing, but it occurred to me that I don't have an issue with flying itself. I like flying. It's the people that I don't like. It's the engaging with other humans, and a bunch of people in a stressful situation with you is not fun. Just ask the last 2 years of all of existence. But so I went on this flight and landed, and I was going somewhere. Oh yes, when I got on the flight, right before we took off, I checked Twitter just as like randomly to see what was trending, and what was trending was this. Randomly enough, so this is from BusinessInsider.com, so you know it's legit. And the headline is, "Airline passengers who refuse to wear masks have turned violent." So, like, I'm getting on to my flight. I don't normally fly. I don't fly all that often, just maybe a couple times a year for some of these events. So this isn't like a normal thing. And I get on the plane, and then this is suddenly trending in my For You section. I don't know, man. I don't know. But it's talking about... airline passengers who are like anti-maskers and stuff over the last few years. They're suddenly snapping. They're suddenly losing their minds or something. I don't know. And they're creating no-fly lists of unruly passengers, people who have refused to wear their masks. So, yeah, if you're not familiar with no-fly lists, they're usually for terrorists, but terrorism comes in all shapes and sizes these days. And it can be dependent on very mundane things. But yeah, so this is fun that I'm getting advertised for why I shouldn't freak out on the airplane that I'm getting on. Like, I don't know. Also, this is not live, if you haven't figured that out. So, yeah, leave comments still, but I'm not going to be responding to them. But what do you guys think? Do you think that there's a sudden rise in people who are more anti-mask than they were before? Or is it some propaganda bullshit? Of course, it's the latter, because everything is, and we're going to talk mostly about propaganda bullshit today, because there's a lot of stuff going on with the Ukraine-Russia narratives and stuff. I'm not even going to like take hard stances on any of this because I don't believe any of you guys. Neither side. Nobody. And especially not the American media. We went through 2 years of propaganda, and a lot of you people, a lot of you smart people out there, during the COVID times, you were doing like me, calling out some of the bullshit and saying the media can't be trusted. But then suddenly, I have noticed when all this new thing, when COVID goes away and it's replaced by Russia, we've got an awful lot of like Republicans and libertarians or right-leaning libertarians that seem to go hitting around with the neocon, I suppose. Is it just me, or I don't know? Is it looking a little neocon-y outside? But yeah, so we can trust the narrative now. Obviously, it's CNN. They've always been trustworthy, right? But yeah, so I'm not taking hard stance. Like, I feel like it seems pretty obvious what my stance would be, and I don't know if I've said it like specifically on here, but as far as I can tell, it seems like Ukraine has a lot of shitty people in their government, and Russia has a lot of shitty people in their government, and Russia is attacking Ukraine and harming innocent civilians, which is really shitty, and also we're doing the same thing with I don't know, like our sanctions and all that. Like, these are not just harming Vladimir Putin. Y'all get that, right? When we try and collapse the economy of an entire nation, the rich, the wealthy, the very powerful elites don't suffer the most. Actually, they do suffer. Like, their millions of dollars might go down a fraction of a percent, but to the people who were already like impoverished in the streets, again, I don't know. Like, I'm not speaking in definitives on this because I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination on this. So I generally defer to people like Scott Horton, who know much more about these types of things. But it seems to me like, we've pushed NATO all the way up to the border of Russia, and Russia is the bear that got poked too many times now is all pissed off. What that will end in, I don't know, but not great things if they keep going the way they are. But we're getting lots of propaganda, and I just jotted down a few that I noticed since Wednesday's episode and wanted to make note of. And if I wait any longer, these links will be gone, because a couple of them have disappeared even for this that I was planning on bringing up, and now we just won't get them. By the way, this show today is sponsored by Jack Casey Books. If you're looking for books that are fun and funny and written by a crazy person who believes that the earth is not round, but is also a libertarian and a fun, comedic, dark, twisted man and a good friend of this show, go check out jackcaseybooks.com. You can get the Royal Green series and all of those, all three of the Royal Green books and WVW, his latest book. Check them all out at jackcaseybooks.com. That's right. Even without the, I'm still, paying the bills because I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I'm at the Liberty Forum. I have spent 2 days just standing there, pointing cameras and hitting record. It's going to turn out really cool. I'm really excited for it. A lot of speakers and everything. They did great work, and I'm looking forward to sharing that. But it's been a long couple of days. All right, this one. Sorry, I got to get all my... Like, it's just a mess here. Everything's a mess. I got to move screens out of the way so I can see what I'm even looking at. But let's see if... she plays. I'm also going off of what is it? Hotel Wi-Fi here, so that's, if that's any indication of what we're working with, I am already having to restart things. It's Twitter though, so that happens. Come on. Come on, honey. If it plays, that would be fantastic. Here we go. Come on. Alright, well that one's not. Okay, so I'll just explain this one. Screw that. Clearly that's not the path we're taking tonight. So in this video, it's here's the thing. This is all propaganda, so anything I say, I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know who made it. I don't know who released it. I'm not a journalist. I'm just sharing with you what I found, which I suppose is kind of what journalism is to some degree, but I can't verify anything here. This is from Abdul Rahim _Kazi. It says, Ukraine Live TV supposedly filming a site with dead bodies of civilians killed during Russian bombing strikes, but something went wrong. Shared on a lighter note. This is from a climate change protest. So this is going around as propaganda for the Russian bombing of Ukraine citizens, and there is a person in the background, you will notice, that sits up. They're in the body bags. This one blows open, and the person like sits up. So this footage is clearly not of what they're saying it's of. It is this person is claiming that it's from a climate change protest, which means that it's not really deceptive initially in what they were doing, because they weren't saying these people were dead. It was a protest where they were pretending to be dead, because if you throw enough tissy fits and cry enough, then climate change goes away. But that's what the initial, to my understanding, that's what the original footage was from, and it's being used to show that Russia is indeed invading Ukraine. So that's fun. And this is going to be a short episode, guys. I'm just going to burn through some of these things to get them off the docket, but yeah. And give you something a little extra, because I'm going to be getting back on Tuesday, and I'm going to be tired, and Wednesday, I'm not sure for sure if I'm going to have an episode ready to go by then. I am doing on Wednesday evening, on Wednesday at 5 p.m. corn time, I will be doing nap time, NAP time. I don't remember the guy who runs it, but he hit me up and asked me to come on, basically just having some fun, watching some clips of different things going on in the world, and just making jokes about whether or not they're non-aggression principle violations. So check that out, 5 p.m. on Wednesday, and maybe a live stream on Wednesday as well. This is from, so that last one was obviously from Ukraine's side of things, their propaganda. And then we get this from RT, which is the Russian media company. I think RT just went down completely, like they stopped? Is that what I heard? Did I hear right? There's no comment section. All right, so this came out of RT recently. This was on what day? March 2nd. So it's been a bit. It's been a couple of days already. Let's watch and see what I thought was worth saving. Nothing's working. Okay.
Of fake news regarding
Okay.
Ukraine.
This isn't working out here.
Defense Ministry published footage.
So the point of this was to share propaganda. But if my computer is too slow to handle the processing, I'm on my little MacBook Pro here, so we don't have the normal full computing power, and that's a problem when you're wanting to use a bunch of video clips to host a podcast. So we'll move on and see if there's anything that does work. Here's one. You can look this up. I don't know how you can. Okay, you can see it, I think, at least, right? Yeah, you can see. We don't need to hear it. It's fine. you see this crowd running, they're screaming and everything, and then this person, so that was used, I guess, as propaganda, and then this person scrolls up and shows the behind-the-scenes footage. I don't know where this came from or how they got it, but it shows a camera filming it, like your average run-of-the-mill, like moon landing footage, where you pan out just a little bit and you see Stanley Kubrick's arm in the mirror. But I don't know, just a whole bunch of stuff going around, and I think it's interesting because, we always talked about, like, what would it be like in the future when World War III happens and we can live stream the whole damn thing. And the problem is, like, now we have the technology to live stream every single thing that happens in this war as it's playing out, and we still don't have any fucking clue what to believe because we get stuff like this. I don't know which side is putting out the propaganda. Like, are the Russians putting out propaganda that makes you think that Ukraine is putting out propaganda? Like, there's multiple layers here, I think, because some of the fucking propaganda is so ridiculous. I don't think Ukraine is putting it out to make people sympathize with Ukraine, like the one we talked about with Dave Casey, where there's like the obvious dummy flying in the background. Did Ukraine put that out and they're just that stupid that they thought people would believe that to be a legit thing? Was that theirs? Or was it Russia, like, playing the 4D chess, putting out some... Oh, God, that's loud. So the audio plays just fine as soon as I click off the screen share. Please stop. Please stop. I don't even know if this episode's going to turn out worth a damn because everything's going slow now. We good? We good, computer? You gonna hang in there? I promise I won't punish you too much with video clips. I'm sorry. Even though most of what I had was video clips. But yeah, what if Russia is putting out propaganda that is so ridiculous but looks like it's propaganda from Ukraine to make us think, like, this can go both ways. I'm not saying it is or isn't one or the other. I don't know. That's all I'm saying is I don't know what to fucking believe. Tulsi Gabbard had a really based freaking clip here that I'm probably not going to be able to play. Let's see if we can read it. Can we turn the audio off and read along successfully? Could end the crisis, prevent the war with Russia. By doing something very simple, guaranteeing that Ukraine will not become a member of NATO. Because if Ukraine became a member of NATO, that would put U.S. NATO troops directly on the doorstep of Russia, as Putin has laid out, yes. Would undermine their national security interests, yes. The reality is that this is highly, highly unlikely that Ukraine will ever become a member of NATO. So the question is, why does President Biden and NATO leaders actually just say that? Or why don't they? Which begs the question of, why are we in the position? Then if the answer to this is preventing war from happening is very clear, blah, 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 blah. So she's back to her anti-war stance, which is great, because she was awfully pandery. Like, there's been an awful lot of, like, Russophobia was trending the other day, and I think Russian phobia or something. I think one is the actual technical term, and one is the term that the normies actually use, because it makes more sense to actually have the word of the thing that you're afraid of instead of some old Latin phrase or something. I don't know how words work. So, yeah. Good on you, Tulsi. When they do good, we applaud. When they do bad, we beat your ass. We did have some stuff from Putin that I thought was important. Let me see. Which that is him speaking in Russian and is translated as well. And with something like that, I don't know. I don't know if the translation is correct. I don't know if Putin is saying what this thing says. I don't know. Like, I'm skeptical on all levels of wartime propaganda. Like, that seems like the obvious take. The obvious position would be to be skeptical and hesitant on all this, right? Not to go immediately, for your entire country to immediately go from we hate America to we love Ukraine. We love patriotism for Ukraine, but if you're a patriot to the country that you currently occupy, with your residency in your body, then you're a racist or something. I don't know. Why isn't Ukraine open to more open borders and stuff, right? I thought it was racist to not have open borders. I don't know. What if Mexico had nukes? I don't know. Just the whole State of the Union thing. Every single frickin' senator there that I could see. Like, you saw more blue and yellow in the sea of retarded robot faces, lizard people. You saw more blue and yellow than you saw red, white, and blue. And I'm certainly not the most patriotic person, if you haven't noticed. I think this country's going to hell in a handbasket, and we should probably secede before we kill each other. Or, poke the wrong bears in the world. But, yeah. It just seems odd that we're really, like, the people that we don't trust for anything else over the last 2 years, especially. Like, we don't trust any of these politician lizard people. We don't trust them any other time for the last 2 years with all this COVID stuff. But now, with this, it's different somehow. And I say that because I've seen some libertarians out there who, it's probably just they don't know, or they haven't really thought this through or whatever. I mean, this isn't something that's really easy to understand. That's why I'm trying to be kind of hesitant on the whole thing. Like, I haven't, again, made super bold statements because I don't know. And the more I dig into it, I feel like the more I dig into it, the less I know. Like, all the footage I find, I don't know what even is and isn't anymore. It's very Orwellian, I suppose you could say. Yeah, I think the obvious response is we don't know. We know that Ukraine has some shitty people in their government, and Putin is certainly no saint to be praised. We can condemn exactly what Putin did, which to our understanding is drop some bombs and shit, invaded a bit. I don't know. Like, why is this going so slow? That is another strange question. It seems like every time I do an episode, when I'm done doing the episode, things start to ramp up. And then by the time I get back to doing an episode, there's like no news. There's nothing. It's like the news cycle dictates how this war is going and when it's happening. Because it was like the end of the world when we first heard that, we were sending troops in. Everybody's like, oh. Even I was like, oh shit, well, this could go down any minute now, I suppose. And now it's just like, I don't know. It seems like these things would develop much faster in a day and age like today. But you never know who to believe. So I think it is, for as much as they would have you believe that Putin is the devil and Hitler incarnate, like, that is the main narrative that I've seen going around, is just straight, obviously, Hitler, or Putin did this. He just went in and bombed them because he hates women and children in Ukraine. There's nothing more to his reasoning at all. He just did it because he's a monster. And now we have to go nuke all of humanity in a World War III that we can't even fathom. We got to do that because of that. Most people don't survive nuclear holocausts. Like, even if, like, giving the benefit of the doubt, let's say Ukraine is just a bunch of sweethearts, just a bunch of the best people, nicest, finest folks you ever did meet in your gosh darn life. Okay. And if we go save them, hypothetically, all of humanity could be over. So are we saving them at that point? I'm not sure. I don't know. There's a lot to be discussed in this, and I guess we'll just take it as it comes. I don't know. I'm doing the best to my ability, but geopolitical struggles are certainly not my forte. So we speculate on conspiracy instead. But we go straight to the horse's mouth, and we'll get some words from Mr. Putin. Because I don't believe either side here. It seems like there's a side. It seems like there are people who would have you believe there's a side that is very, very pro-Putin. And that usually just means that you're not in favor of going and invading Russia to save Ukraine. If you are against the end of all things, then you are a racist or something. I don't know. I can't keep up anymore. And so I feel like there are some people that are sympathetic to Putin, and then there's the media who's trying to convince everybody that there's a whole bunch of right-wingers that are 100% pro-Putin. They loved the bombing of Ukraine. That was their favorite thing. That was their shit. I don't think that's the case. But hey, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of dumb people out there, and I am one of them. So, whatever. I'm not qualified to speak on this, but a lot of trends going around. And it seems almost like they come out first and they say, I had a good point. I posted it earlier today or yesterday. Something to the effect of, they come out and they tell you to be afraid of Russia first. Yeah, they tell you that everybody hates Russia. Everybody's scared of Russia. They tell you that. That was the first wave. Be scared of Russia. Then the second wave is, the first wave is everybody hates Russia. Be scared of Russia. Then the second wave is everybody loves Russia. Be scared of everybody around you. Like, that's what's going around right now. I've seen a lot of pro-Russian hashtags and stuff, and I'm not convinced that it's not completely fabricated to make you think, oh, well, suddenly the enemy that you created is now all around me. And then they just brainwash you into attacking each other, distracting you from actually paying attention or even trying to find out what's happening in the actual story of the war that is escalating as we speak. Allegedly, I don't know. I think that's their motive. Maybe I'm wrong. I suppose that's not really a motive. That's just a nice icing on the cake of history rewriting, I guess. I don't know. This is Putin. He says, it's clear, and again, allegedly, he's saying these things. Speaking of U.S. policy, it's clear that the U.S. Has the most aggressive and toughest policy to defend their own interests. At least this is how something. Hold up, I can't do this. I can't do the accent and read. Y'all know this by now. To defend their own interests. At least this is how the American leaders see it, and they do it persistently. There are basically no Russian troops abroad, while U.S. troops are everywhere. There are U.S. military bases everywhere around the world, and they are always involved in the fates of other countries. Yes. Even though they are thousands of kilometers... Hold up. Go back. Slow down, Pootie. Thousands of kilometers away. So it's ironic that our U.S. partners accuse us of breaching some of these rules. Come on. All right. So he's just pointing out the obvious and flagrant hypocrisy in our own system as we go around the world policing everyone and anyone that we feel the need to. And then if Russia comes in and says, hey, we don't like the way things are going over here. We don't like that NATO is creeping up to our border. We allegedly don't like that Nazi Azov battalion or whatever the fuck is going. Like, there's so much to this, and that's the craziest thing. Is that people are making such definitive claims on what is and isn't happening, and I feel like there's so much history with these two land masses and collections of people and their interactions and connections that we have so little idea. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only person that is so dumb that I wasn't paying attention to, the state of Ukraine over the last 20 years, but please do enlighten me. But it seems like there's so much that goes back far beyond any of what we're even discussing right now as a society in this situation. All right, what else do we got here? There was a what's his nuts? Trevor Noah clip that I had where he's talking about basically the racism of this war and the way news coverage is covering it, and I think he actually has kind of a point. Like, this is I don't want to put words in his mouth and give him too much credit or anything, but he's basically talking about how, all these news anchors, I think it was specifically like Al Jazeera, and there's one other that was talking about how, or they were showing people talking about how this war is much more of a concern because it is made up of normal folk, your normal Europeans or whatever. It's a white war, so it matters, or something like that. I do think that's interesting, that it does seem to matter a lot more. Like, we care a lot more about what happens to the Ukrainians or the Russians. Maybe not the Russians. So I maybe not. Maybe I think Trevor Noah is still full of shit, because so if we're calling the Ukrainians and the Russians both white in this situation, some Russian people are being starved out of their homes, or starved to death, I would imagine. I don't know. With these sanctions and making life harder for everybody there, again, it's not going to affect the upper 1% as much as it affects the lay person. We are committing acts of war and expecting not to get into a war. Sanctions are that. Sanctions are, it's just fucking retarded. Like, it's just, we're sticking our nose where it doesn't belong to begin with. Why does the U.S. have anything to do with whether or not the Ukraine is a part of Russia? Why do we care? So, I don't know. I can kind of see Trevor Noah's point on this, that it seems to matter more that we're talking about European countries. I lost my article. Sorry. Yeah, we seem to care a lot more about the Ukrainians than, Afghanis or anything. I don't know if that's true, though, because we're perfectly fine with Russians getting the shit kicked out of them in a racist way, not even having anything to do with the war, just because of something that Vladimir Putin did that is gross and incorrigible. We now have people Canadians calling for the banning of, or maybe they did ban, all Russian vodkas. And we've got, Russian restaurants and stuff getting vandalized and shit. It's like the fucking, I don't know, Vlad's bagels down the road or whatever did not attack Ukraine, I promise. But I don't know. It's an awful lot of stuff that is racist that will be called not racist because they're mostly white people. And you can't be racist against white people. Germany came out and condemned what Russia is doing, and they said, hey, we know about Nazism. Take it from us. You're a Nazi. Sincerely, former Nazis. It just seems a little odd to come out and be like, hey, man, we know what you are. And we know it better than anyone, unfortunately, because we're Nazis too. So we know you're a Nazi. I don't know. Seems a little on the nose. What Russia is doing in Ukraine is slaughtering innocent children, women, and men for its own gain, the German embassy in South Africa tweeted. So the German embassy in South Africa. Okay. Germany to Russia. We're kind of experts on Nazism, and Russia isn't fighting it. So they're making statements about claims against Vladimir Putin's, comments on the Azov battalion. Allegedly, Putin comes out and he says he just wanted to get rid of all the Nazis, and he's clearing out the Nazis, and he's going to set things back to the way they were, and he's not looking to, take any more than blah, 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 blah. Whatever. So he's making claims about he's doing this to purify the Ukraine, or purify Ukraine of Nazis. The Germans are saying, hey, don't talk about Nazis. We know all about Nazis, bro. That's us. That's kind of our thing. So we're the ones. That's our word. That's our N-word. That is their N-word, and you can't say it. But you know who can say it is everybody else calling Vladimir Putin Hitler, like the Germans. So they're alluding to both. They're saying stop calling them Nazis, and also we're calling you Nazis because we are allowed to use that N-word and you're not. So cool. That's some real high quality political drama right there. Very, very good. Very good, world leaders. You're doing us all a service, making us proud. And I should also mention that there's likely going to be a lot that I don't cover here that I should cover here, and I'm going to kick myself for not covering as soon as I'm done talking. But I have not been on Twitter at all over the last 2 to 3 days, something like that, ever since I was getting ready for this trip on Thursday. So there's probably a lot that I do not know about and have missed, and we will see. And that was another reason why I want to do this tonight, because when we get to Wednesday, and I'm like, all right, I've got all this shit that's been in my head for the last half a week to talk about, and then I realize, oh, actually the 3 days worked in there that I was out of town. I missed a whole bunch of stuff. It's going to be probably still a long one if I do it, and when I do it, I'll do it, whatever. So I'm just kind of looking through some trends right now to see what's going on. It seems like weekends are slow for news, so it's good to get this done now. Usually everything starts dumping back in on Monday. Like, the world just pauses for the weekend because we just have this universal acceptance of, hey, Saturday, Sunday, we chill. It could be World War III on Friday or Thursday. Could be just kicking that off, new and fresh. But come Saturday, your boy Joe Biden is going to be taking a trip out to Delaware to hold his family and be with them during his final days. Because the whole world pauses for a weekend. So yeah, we'll get some things out of the way here. More stuff that does not have to do with Ukraine. This has to do with the State of the Union address. By the way, I did not mention my air conditioner is running, and there is no way of turning it off. Thank you, Best Western, for your kind amenities of no silence or peace. All right. So, you remember Lauren Boebert? We talked about that with Dave Casey. She did the heckling, and I might sneeze here. I think we're good. All right. So Reps Boebert and Green heckled Biden during the State of the Union, and then, of course, we had to find out if you've got women heckling men or whatever. If you've got women heckling, what we need is the women of The View to heckle the women who heckled the President of the United States. So Lauren Boebert, if you recall, she said the 13... She brought up the 13 Afghanistan troop lives that were lost or whatever when Joe Biden was trying to basically bring up a sob story for sympathy and win over your hearts and minds as he talks about his son who died, because that will always be news, and it will always be relevant, and it will always be something he brings up to make your tears jerk. I am also drinking a lovely Long Hammer IPA this evening. Fresh from the Flavor Forge, West Coast style India Pale Ale. I think it's... Nope, it's not local. I thought they were giving me local stuff, but it's not. Seattle. It's about as unlocal as you could possibly be in the continental United States. Alright, so, I think this one might play because it's YouTube, but we shall try. If not, I will have to do my best The View impressions, even at 9:14 p.m. at night on a Sunday. What the hell? You guys, come on. Get your shit together. So, I'll do my best Whoopi impersonation, I guess. Whoopi is all like, yo, hey, Lauren, that was real mean. Oh, shit, I forgot to bring up Lindsey Graham. Shit. We're going to have to talk about that. We're supposed to be talking about Whoopi Goldberg is all like, hey, that's disrespectful of you to speak to our president of the United States that way about the troops. How are you so disrespectful to the troops? It's like, what she said was acknowledging some troops that died on Joe Biden's watch. I don't really think that's being disrespectful to the troops as much as it is being disrespectful to the guy who, you know, probably was, maybe, might have been, probably was responsible for the deaths of those troops. But they'll spin this into an unpatriotic thing because you're being disrespectful to the troops if you want the troops to not die so much. Because that's how doublespeak works. Or newspeak, whatever. So that was that. That happened. Whoopi's still at it. Still making that highbrow content that she does. Oh, Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Oh, wait, we got to talk about Lindsey Graham first, before I forget. I don't have an article pulled up. It wouldn't matter if I did, because it wouldn't work. Lindsey Graham posted. Okay, actually, let me see if I can find the tweet for this. Because it won't be a video. Maybe we can use it. I'm going to pause here, because we're not live. And I'm going to find you this tweet. It's going to blow your goddamn mind if you haven't heard it yet, because it is just nuts. Hold on. Today's episode in Lindsey Graham's horrible off-color tweet is brought to you by LibertyPortraits.com. Have you heard of Matt Miller? I don't have a script or anything here. I'm just going from memory here, so bear with me. Matt Miller makes Liberty Portraits and does all sorts of paintings and nice artsy-fartsy bullshit. It's lovely. It's lovely to look at. It's lovely to look to see and view in your home and wow your friends with. He paints people like Robert Malone, Lori Lightfoot, not really. Liberty people, Mises, Rothbard, Ron Paul, all sorts of great people. John McAfee. Some Star Wars stuff, which I love. He even does dog portraits, and you might even be able to convince him to do a cat portrait if you're a wonderful feline lover, such as myself. But he doesn't do favors for cat people, I hear. But he does sponsor this show, so he's good enough, people. Go check him out at LibertyPortraits.com. He does live events as well. Bring him out to something like the Liberty Forum or PorkFest or something and have him paint your festival. Or you can get prints, or you can have him do, original pieces for yourself and stuff. LibertyPortraits.com. Also, JackCaseyBooks.com. Also, if you want to join the Downers Club, patreon.com/thesystemisdown. If you haven't guessed, there will be no after party tonight. This is already the after party. It's been a long week, and I think it's a weekend. I don't know. I've got, so I'm shooting that ad tomorrow, and then I think I'm going to, I don't know how much I should say. I'm going to be meeting up with a guy to shoot a part for a music video that I am a part of, and he just happens to be here in town. And then I'm going to meet up with somebody else in a couple weeks on another trip, and we're going to shoot more of this video. And then we're going to release this video someday, I promise you. And you're going to be like, wow, I recognize that. That's cool. That's neat, that thing you did. Anyway, so Lindsey Graham, and this is basically the frickin' story of the week. The absolute story, like the most mind-blowing thing I've seen in a good while. This tweet from Lindsey Graham, and it's still up. I cannot believe this is still up, but I heard about this on my way in. I was listening to, I think Tim Pool or somebody was talking about it while I was flying in. Lindsey Graham posted this tweet. Dear audio listener, buckle up. He said, "Is there a Brutus in Russia? Is there a more successful Colonel Stauffenberg in the Russian military? The only way this ends is for somebody in Russia to take this guy out. You would be doing your country and the world a great service." So, Senator Lindsey Graham of the United States of America posted via his Twitter account, "Hey, you should assassinate another first world leader. You should do that. Is there anybody out there who would be so kind as to assassinate a leader? Because you would be doing the world a service and your country a service if you were to assassinate the president of your country." Remember when Donald Trump said fight like hell, and they tried to pretend like that had something to do with inciting violence? That's inciting violence. Enough to get Donald Trump kicked off of Twitter and all the other platforms simultaneously, and Lindsey Graham can say, "Hey, just throwing this out there, anybody want to go assassinate your president? If so, I would applaud you." That's fine. That's not inciting a violence of any kind, I'm sure. Seems like that's got to be a crime of some sort, and I can't believe that this tweet is still up and Lindsey Graham has not resigned by now, because holy shit, this is like just this is a sitting senator who was elected to his position going out there and inciting a world war. Inciting the most mass chaos this world has ever seen. Bringing on the apocalypse single-handedly. He's such a lovely man as well. So that's fun. When we talk about poking the bear, hey, bud, cool it. Speaking of bears, y'all hear about Lori Lightfoot and her dick? Oh boy. This is the mayor of Chicago, the very noble and lovely LGBTQ. Not that that matters. Why is this not zooming out and in? Why have you cursed me, Madam Lightfoot? Alright, that'll work. Mayor Lightfoot. Noble and brave, honest and true. Quote, "My dick is bigger than yours. I have the biggest dick in Chicago." Mayor Lori Lightfoot insulted lawyer who tried to defy her wishes by allowing Italian Americans to display a statue of Christopher Columbus, lawsuit claims. So, the lawsuit claims this. I suppose it's not. It's still just alleged. We don't know for sure. But if you were going to make something up about Lori Lightfoot, I don't think this is what you'd probably go with. It seems like it's probably got at least a little bearing in reality, but I could be wrong. All right. Let's see what we got here. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has been accused in a lawsuit of hurling obscenities at a city lawyer who tried to defy her wishes by allowing Italian Americans to display a removed statue of Christopher Columbus at a parade. So this, I believe, is a statue that was erect at one point, more erect possibly than Lori Lightfoot's dick, but it was erect, it was pulled down, and then these people were going to use it in the parade on display as part of their float, as kind of a screw you, we're going to do this. This is our heritage, whatever. Former Chicago Park District Deputy General Counsel George Smyr filed with lawsuit on Tuesday against the city and Lightfoot, alleging she defamed him with her remarks in a meeting last year. Quote, "You make some kind of secret agreement with the Italians," said Lightfoot, according to the complaint, which was first reported by the Chicago Tribune. Good Lord, Tribune. Jeez. All right. "My dick is bigger than yours, and the Italians, I have the biggest dick in Chicago." We just need to make shirts that just have a picture of Lori Lightfoot's face, and it just says, "My dick is bigger than yours," or "biggest dick in Chicago." Oh, that's great. Just her head, and it just says, "biggest dick in Chicago." Quote, Lori Lightfoot, mayor of Chicago. At issue, all right, this is like wonky and hard to read on here. At issue was one of the 2 Columbus statues that Lightfoot ordered removed during widespread unrest in the summer of 2020, which city Italian-American groups hoped to unveil and display temporarily during their Columbus Day parade last fall. She had these Columbus statues taken down. The Italian-Americans wanted it just... Can we just put it up to celebrate Columbus Day? Would that be okay? It's okay that we celebrate Columbus Day, right? But it's not okay if we celebrate Columbus Day with a statue of Columbus. That would be just too much to handle. Too traumatizing, too triggering. But yeah, she had her nice choice words. I think there was more choice words. Let me see. There's the statue. All right. Democrat mayor, who had initially spoke of her desire to preserve history, warts and all, gave the order for removal after 49 police officers were injured by a mob hurling rocks and fireworks while attempting to tear the statue down. Quote, "This step is about an effort to protect public safety and to preserve a safe space for an inclusive and democratic public dialogue about our city's symbols," said Lightfoot at the time. So it seems like she was in support of keeping up the statues until the mob won. Her problem is, of course, letting the mob win. Am I frozen? How very dare you, sir? 1 second. All right, we are back, boys and girls, and we're going to wrap this up with one more thing. We have talked tonight about Ukraine. We've talked about some propaganda. We've talked about Lindsey Graham trying to just tear the whole thing down single-handedly, single-limp-wristedly, and Lori Lightfoot, and her big old whopping penis that is, we are all just so impressed by. It's so much bigger than all the Italians. Interesting. Very, very, very nice, lovely world we live in. But there is a little bit of hope, and that is just, I'm not going to be able to play the clip, but Ron DeSantis, dude, I've got my issues with this guy. I don't trust him yet. I don't know how to feel about him, but he's sticking to it. Like with this latest clip that's been going around. You've probably seen it. It's where these kids are behind him. He's about to give a speech. These students are behind him. They're all masked up, as they are brainwashed into doing, and as they know is the way. It is just how life is now, even though they live in Florida and it's whatever. He goes up to them and just says, honestly, just take the freaking masks off. It's not doing anything. I mean, you can leave them on, but we need to get over this theater. This is just kind of dumb. Stop doing this. But he gives them the opportunity to keep the masks on if they so choose. Of course, the media immediately rushed to the parents of these students that have been brainwashed, not only by the media, but obviously by their parents, because if their parents had any shred of decency, they wouldn't be, like, if the event isn't asking, requiring, or, like, even insinuating, obviously, that you need to wear a mask, and these kids just know that they have to wear a mask, that is on all the adults in their life that are mostly their parents. My kids wouldn't have assumed that going, like, if we were taking our kids to a thing like this for Ron DeSantis or something and they were supposed to stand behind him, they wouldn't go up and assume that they have to wear a mask. because that's not normal. That's not normal human behavior. But these kids are brainwashed into being that way, and the parents, of course, bitched and complained about it. Complained that he was taking away their safety by forcing them not to wear a mask. Like, he ripped the mask off them. Like, he was so angry about it. No, he just walked up and said, come on, guys. You don't have to wear that mask. Take it off. I mean, you can leave it on if you want, but we got to get over this. We got to move on. And they chose to take it off, and they probably got spanked for it as soon as they got home. So now we have parents acting like Ron DeSantis is defying parents' choice because the parents told them to keep the mask on. The parents might have even told them to keep the mask on at this event because it would be a nice way to protest Ron DeSantis and his just flagrant, disrespectful anti-science behavior. And, of course, the mother in the clip isn't wearing a mask when she's going on about this. So, yeah. So now we have this parent who is like, you can't tell my kid what to do. That's going against my beliefs. It's like he wasn't telling them what to do or what not to do. But I would imagine this parent is probably also in the same camp that says things like what we've heard of on the critical race theory and that type of thing, or parents having the right to decide what their children are taught in school. They come out and they say that the fucking president of the United States basically called parents terrorists if they're going in and, you know, harassing these poor teachers unions at school board meetings because they don't want their kids to have to be vaccinated or wear masks and stuff like that. So the parents that care about whether or not their kids are being brainwashed, they are the bad ones. But the parents that want the brainwashing, to them, telling their kid that they don't have to wear a mask, that's brainwashing, and that's going against the parents' will. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy, and I don't know. There's no like solid thread line through here or any like crazy final conclusion that I've come to with any of this. The biggest conclusion is just really that nothing can be trusted. Like, we've got propaganda just from the get-go. We were talking about the airline passenger bullshit where apparently all these airline passengers out of nowhere are just so done with this. I mean, I get it that they are done with it, but I'm done with it as well. But I haven't seen a rash of people being just completely off their rocker, irrational, throwing fits on airlines because they don't want to wear masks, even though they probably should. Yeah, the propaganda is deep. It's deep palatable, and I don't think we can trust any of these people. I don't think we can trust anybody on any side of any of these things at this point, and I don't know if you can trust me. I don't know if I can trust myself. I don't know if I can trust you. And isn't that what they wanted the whole time? Isn't that the point of all the propaganda? So, I don't know. This has just been a nice little weekend dump and a refresher for me. And doing something completely raw with an air conditioner in the background and some dirty clothes on the bed. And nothing's working on here, but it's fine. We can still have an hour-long chat about what's going on in the world because it's important to know what is happening, even if we don't have the joy of the pretty effects. But, yeah. Seeing things like the Liberty Forum does fill me with some hope. Like, it fills me with simultaneous hope and despair. Because, like, they're talking about, like, secession and stuff, and I'm all about it. And just filmed a secession panel earlier today with Carla Garrick and the Texas dude and the California dude and the other dude. Sorry, I'm bad with names and remembering or caring. But, yeah, it was great. Lots of great points. Lots of good arguments. Why is my camera freezing again? For the love of God, why? Stop. But yeah, meeting a lot of these people and hanging out and just hearing the points, it fills me with hope, and it also fills me with the opposite. And I don't like... I'm still, like, white-pilled pretty much always, mostly because I think that none of this is real entirely. Like, I think a lot of everything that we experience in life is just complete bluster and distraction, it's hard to take any of it seriously. It's hard to know what I should be taking seriously, and it's hard to know what I should be, even, like, if I were to prepare, if I were a, like, hardcore prepper, which it's kind of strange that I'm not, I know, but if I were, it's like, what am I preparing for exactly? Am I preparing for an economic collapse, nuclear disaster, people invading, China taking over, digital, like, strikes? I don't know. So there's a part of me, even underneath all my skepticism and just pessimism, I suppose, mostly skepticism, I suppose, not that pessimistic, but inside of all that, I'm just like, it'll probably be fine. And if it's not, like, okay. I don't know. Is that nihilism? I'm not sure. Like, even if the worst of the worst thing happens, what's next? What is next? What is the next thing? If we survive this Holocaust or whatever comes out of it, like, I'm not saying this is currently a Holocaust, I don't know, whatever. I guess according to Germany, they're the ones to ask. But if we survive whatever this is, what's after that? And if we don't survive whatever this is, then what's after that? I don't know. Let's I've been pondering some spiritual stuff more and more, and it's fun. And it fills me with hope and also more confusion. But there will be more on that as things unfold and as we move forward into this crazy year. But yeah, I am hopeful, and I think that everything's going to be fine in one way or another. Fine might be completely, based on our current understanding of society and living, fine is not what it will be necessarily. But maybe once we get there, we'll be like, yeah, this is fine. Like, we kind of forget very quickly what yesterday even looked like. We kind of just have already moved on from COVID entirely and what lockdowns were. And, we felt like we were moving into, hey, everybody's going to be forced to get vaccinated. And we were really close to having that happen. We've kind of skirted that just for now. And like 2 years before that, never would have thought that we would have been there. And then when we were there, it felt awful. And now we kind of just don't care anymore. So it's like, even if we go through like a Great Depression, I'm sure the people in the Great Depression, they were kind of just making the best of a bad situation. And they didn't realize that they were in a Great Depression, I would imagine. Like, I for as bad as everything is throughout history, we put titles on things. We look back on them as like this romanticized, absolutely awful thing that happened. And not to downplay them, I'm sure it sucked to go through, but I guess I just kind of wonder if those people realized that they were living in a historic moment at the time that it happened. I suppose once you start like throwing people in gas chambers, that becomes very apparent, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we're at. I don't know what's going to happen. I would love for things to go back to just boring normal, but I guess that would make podcasting more boring. So I got to thank Biden and the Illuminati and the powers that be for making this show more interesting every day. And I got to thank you guys, of course, for supporting the show. And if you would like to, if you're not in the Downers Club and you would like to be, and you would like to get the bonus content, including all the after parties and the South Park recaps and all the fun stuff every single week, go on over to patreon.com/the system is down and sign up for as little as the cost of a cup of coffee if you're into that sort of thing, or a super chat a month, and you'll get bonus stuff out the ass, all sorts of it. So get over there, patreon.com/the system is down. Thank you guys for hanging out with me whenever this comes out. It's been fun. Thank you to the people at Liberty Forum for bringing me out and having such a great time there. So yeah, lots of fun stuff in the works. Going out to Delaware in a couple weeks, and I'll see some of you all there. But that'll be it for tonight. I got to go get some sleep. Got to get up and do this, all this crazy shit all over tomorrow and do some fun stuff. But until Wednesday, if not a little later, if not sooner, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But until next time, question everything, stay uncomfortable. I'll talk to you then. Peace out, guys.